community members with us. We are here today, the second day of the first EdenBase Virtual Basecamp week as part of our startup competition that we kicked off toward the end of last year. I'm going to stop my share screen right now. And let's see. So we do have our companies as part of the attendees. I still can't see Maggie. But
she hasn't read her message today. So
well, if she doesn't make, if we could start anyway, Daniel, because we could start it as a fireside and end up as a trip to the pub.
That's a trip to, well, this is.
I'd love to do that. Virtual pub.
This is why being back in the office and physical live events are so great, because you know the people are there, you can see them, you can chat with them beforehand. It's all very. So come on the day when we can come out and meet everybody, all the people that are. I've had some very good chats today with people, and it's really a shame that it's on the end of a screen. It would be so nice to actually be there. But,
yeah, honestly, really. I'll thank you, Jeff Hancock, for suggesting German craft at Mercato. Yeah, absolutely. We will be first down there too. Although I have relived the moment by using the German craft glass with purchased beer. So, but I've not been able to buy it with a craft coin, which is another story. But yeah, it's good.
Perfect.
Anyways, great to be here, and thank you, Gigi, for everything in organizing today. It's been great fun. I too have had wonderful, inspiring conversations with our applicants. Daniel and I are determined to raise a huge fund so we can invest in all of you. But for now, we're going to have to just really focus, and it's going to be a tough week to make these decisions, because you've all done so well in really inspiring us that we can help you to become as great as you possibly can. Gigi, how are we doing? Shall we start anyway?
I think this would be a great opportunity for us to kind of talk about why we are running this session and how this relates to everything that we strive to achieve, accomplish, and support our startups at EdenBase. And I think in that sense, Eric, it would be great for you to kick us off and for tying that into why this is particularly an important session for Daniel as well.
Yeah, happy to do so. Thank you, Gigi. Well, what is EdenBase? So EdenBase was formed as a place where frontier technologies can be learned about and discovered, and how their application into really traditional software, traditional applications, how normal businesses could benefit from frontier technologies, especially now that frontier technologies such as AI and machine learning are becoming, and blockchain even, they're becoming more general purpose, much more accessible, but still requiring a high degree of skill in implementing and also ensuring success. We've seen a lot of money wasted in development for ML projects that didn't work out. And why is that? And so these are part of the reasons that we started this. This is actually Daniel's original business model and concept. My own expertise is about building ecosystems, and having previously built and run some of the most successful tech ecosystems in London with the Tech City, now Tech Nation initiative for the former Prime Minister, and then went on to create Level 39, quite a famous, probably the most famous fintech ecosystem. We figured out that we are capable, and we are the experts in creating the optimum environment to support super growth of companies. Now, if you couple that together with the idea of taking companies that have existing technology, or they might even use one kind of frontier technology, but then coupling it with an additional type of frontier technology, the thesis that Daniel originated with a project called Blockchain Smokers before was that these companies could potentially become super growth companies. I mean, it doesn't apply in all companies, which is why we evaluate, we analyze the companies, we look at the applications, and we ask ourselves and you as applicants whether or not these frontier technologies, if embedded in your system, could they help you and help us to create probably the most successful company in your sector, in your space? So that's what we're asking ourselves. And why are we doing today, which is about NFTs, is because we've seen the rapid rise of non-fungible tokens, NFTs. Actually, they're not such a recent function, because NFTs were expressed first in products in like the Ethereum blockchain, not first there actually, but they have been expressed into a standard, the ERC 721 and the ERC 1155 standard, if you're into the technology in the Ethereum blockchain. And most people kind of know them as the way that you create proof or a digital signature of things like a picture or an image or a video. And you get proof of that on a signature on the blockchain, and then you can sell that proof that that is the one original copy, which is a very powerful thing for art, and you've seen the frothy markets. But we decided to do this NFT panel to really share some of the wider business and other applications and human and societal applications with two people that really are interested in this. One is obviously my partner, Daniel Doll-Steinberg, and the other one is Maggie Xu, who's actually building a platform to enable basically a marketplace for digital collectibles powered by a DeFi economy. So interesting, that thing I've just said, a marketplace for digital collectibles powered by a DeFi economy. There's so many words there that just even a few years ago wouldn't have made any sense in a sentence. And so part of this is to demystify that for our broader community. And I'll stop there and just say, is that what you wanted, Gigi?
Yes, I would say that was perfect. And that was a great introduction. Because since yesterday, we've been also getting questions from our top 20 companies too. So I think this like explanation of our thesis and why these mattered to us might have answered their questions and addressed their questions. And with that said, I also want to let you all know that our chat and Q&A functionalities are open. If you have any questions you want to ask, you can also raise hands and join us on this side to ask your questions too. If you want to share this session with other people who you think might be interested in hearing about the technology and the potential of NFTs, you can send them to our YouTube channel. So with that said, I'll let you two take it from here.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, so I see that we have a great cohort on listening as well, and is just quickly just checking, is it me and Daniel at the moment? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so hopefully Maggie will be able to join us. But Daniel, let me start first of all by asking you about when did you first discover NFTs? What was your NFT epiphany moment?
Well, I guess it was 2017 when I was working on the previous project, which was a gaming project. So it was a very big tokenized project. It was to do with the future of work by enabling people to work in games. It was a very large project with actually an Ethereum founder involved, with some gaming legends, and we devised this world in which people are going to need new types of work, and the gaming industry is a very interesting opportunity for that. So NFTs were very important to that project, and you mentioned the ERC tokens, the Ethereum tokens. They were clearly, I don't know, they weren't nascent then, but they were early still. People weren't really using them, and in that space of gaming, you have two types of product of token. One is sort of a fungible token, a payment mechanism, etc. But the other is registering items. You're proving characters, proving assets, etc. And it became very important because I can prove who I am in the real world, and someone can look up my CV and talk to people about me, but we needed a mechanism for doing that in the virtual world, so that if I wanted to work with somebody, etc., it was important to be able to track who that was, or if I wanted to purchase something off somebody. Whereas in the physical world, I can go and look it up on the on the land registry or whatever. The NFT token was it was invaluable for that.
That's great. I mean, I know that probably the biggest market that uses NFTs, non-fungible tokens, the biggest two that I'm aware of, are assets like weapons and things within games. And that's a huge market. And then I think, what's the other big use case for them at the moment? It's games. Go ahead.
Sorry?
What's the other big use case for NFTs at the moment? Or the historic?
Well, at the moment,
CryptoKitties, of course.
It's CryptoKitties. Yeah, well, that was an interesting experiment, actually, the CryptoKitty one, because firstly, they sold very, very few, interestingly enough, and Ethereum wasn't fantastic for it at the time. But the interesting thing was that you could merge kitties and create new kitties, etc. It showed what is possible. So yeah, that was the big 2017 thing. But if you're talking about now, it's definitely art and videos that is taking the world by storm.
Right. So just for our audience to understand it, if we understand, would I be right in saying that an NFT is basically they call it minting an NFT, don't they? How you mint an NFT is that you take the digital object, which normally you can copy, right? Everybody knows if I've got a photo on my phone, I can make a copy of it. If I've created a beautiful artwork, I could make a copy of it. And what minting does is allows you to take that, as an artist, that original first copy that you create, and ensure that a digital signature, I think it's a 40-character digital signature, is registered on the Ethereum blockchain that points to that single original, or wraps that single original copy, enabling for the first time digital art to prove, I mean, people can still copy it, right? They could still copy those, but that single original, if you like, Genesis copy of that art form its place is registered immutably forever on the blockchain, and that's the big innovation, isn't it?
Yes, that is. I mean, if you're looking at the art world, I think the most suitable analogy is probably prints. You can get an original Miro, which is created by Miro, and there will be one. But then he might do 1,000 prints, and you have one of 1,000 and two of 1,000 and three of 1,000. Now, because they're prints and they've been printed rather than created by hand in many cases, anybody could do a print of those, but they're not the original ones because they're registered. And so I think, whilst it's not a perfect analogy, it's very much like that. I mean, you've got to distinguish, of course, between the different types of NFT. So if you looked at, at the moment there's, I don't know if anyone will know, but so I'll explain, but there's NBA Top Shots, which is where the NBA, the Basketball Association, has taken clips. It's sort of supposed to be the new playing card. They've taken clips of like Michael Jordan scoring a basket, and they're selling those, and anybody can look at it, but those have been done on a blockchain that's very defined for that, so you can only transfer it within that chain. You mentioned the one with the Ethereum, which is a decentralized. So if I have a decentralized piece of art, I put it in my own wallet, I have self-custody, I can do whatever I like. And then you have some services like Nifty Gateway where it's actually on their block, it's on their chain, so they can manage the transfer of it. So it's quite an interesting concept. I think, like a lot of things in the blockchain, a lot of these things have to play out. Where the value is it in, the advantage of the Ethereum one is I own it and I can do whatever I like with it. But if I transfer it to the wrong address, it's disappeared. Or if I transfer it to Gigi instead of you by mistake, and Gigi doesn't want to return it, it's gone. But in the centralized ones like the NBA or the Nifty, if you send it to the wrong person, like a bank, if I send it to the wrong person, the bank can get the money back in many cases.
Okay. Well, now speaking of banks and collectibles and custody, it's interesting because unfortunately Maggie's not here because the question I would be asking her is.
She said she was joining in 5 minutes.
Yes, she joined the wrong meeting room, and I'm trying to get a hold of her because I think she's in my meeting room, but not on this webinar.
Oh, okay, cool.
And yeah,
you keep finding her. That'll be great. Okay, so I'll save the question for her which is really how, I mean, she's taking it to the next level, which is where you can store these collectibles, which have a transparent value on the blockchain, and actually allowing you to stake them so that you can borrow or, or lend, borrow against your collectibles. It's quite interesting. So I can't wait to ask her about that.
And she's here.
Yeah, woo!
Yes.
Hey, Maggie, good timing. Can she hear us yet? Is she audio joined? No, just joining. I see. Not waiting for her audio to connect.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Eric, I would like to also point out that we are getting questions in the Q&A if you want to refer to those as well.
Okay, good shout. Let me see. More in the chat. In the chat. No, in the chat or the Q&A? In
the Q&A, we have Rob from Scribe Labs team.
Good. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to read the question now. Rob Cossins, thank you very much for your questions. Hey guys, NFT novice here. How far are we away from associating NFTs with underlying licenses, do you think? E.g. being able to buy a music track and owning the lifetime royalties? Love that question.
Yeah.
Perfect timing for that question. Now, before we go for it, I think that because Maggie is here, Maggie, I'm sorry, we haven't had a chance to properly introduce you, but I did have a go. And I spoke briefly about how you're building this marketplace for digital collectibles powered by a DeFi economy. So forgive me for diving straight in, but did you want to firstly briefly introduce yourself and what you're doing? And then secondly, maybe try to have a go at that answer, at that question?
Absolutely. First of all, hi everyone. Sorry, I'm a little bit late to the party. So my name is Maggie, and I am the co-founder of Access DeFi. I've been in blockchain for the last 3-4 years, and my previous career, I'm a business lawyer by trade. So I think having that background really allows me to understand this smart contract and how that can really facilitate and cut out a middleman for many industries, such as finance and such as art and fashion. And my last role was, I was the CEO of the Jax wallet. So the Jax wallet is one of the most popular cryptocurrency wallets. We have over 2 million users and downloads around the world, and learn a lot. Like, I am very fortunate to be able to be in this industry before the 2017, the big hype, and just see how the industry has evolved. So my current role at Access DeFi, we are building a platform for NFTs. And firstly, we let users buy and trade. So it's just an easy platform where you can access it with your phone or with a computer. So any platform is agnostic. And you can go on and you can find the latest exclusive NFTs on there. In our version 2, we are actually allowing some DeFi functionality. So DeFi stands for decentralized finance. And what we believe is that for collectors, it's not just, hey, I really like this art piece, I'm going to collect it, end of the story. We actually think that art could be part of your investment portfolio, and there's more you can do with it. So the whole decentralized finance aspect is that if you collect a certain art, you might be able to put that art in, let's say, a little storage room. We call it staking in blockchain terms. And essentially, you can earn a token of the creators that created that piece of art. And so in doing so, we are creating a whole virtual economy around how people can collect art or other fashion digital collectibles, and they can do more with it. And then on the creator side, not only do you just get that one-time fee. So for example, Beeple is someone I believe many know. He's all over the news right now. He just sold that piece for $6.9 million. And every time that piece is sold, he can potentially get a royalty from it. That's a forever revenue sharing. And that is a very powerful new model for the creators, for the artists. And we believe that this is where we're seeing for the next 5-10 years of where the world is going as everything's going more digital. And yeah, very excited to be part of this new movement.
Okay, so the question that we had first was, how far are we away from associating NFTs with underlying licenses? for example, being able to buy a music track and owning the lifetime royalties. And let me also add to that, how about artists? Can they create music tracks and then actually have their lifetime royalties every time that's played? How far away are we from that kind of thing? And will your platform be thinking about doing that kind of thing? And then the second question from another person is, Maggie, when is your platform going to be ready?
So thank you. I'm going to answer the first question first. So I think from a technology standpoint, we can definitely see that the artist or the musician in this case, getting a forever royalty from that licensing. What it takes is, so basically when you create an NFT, it's called minting. You can select how many copies do I want that NFT to come out. So let's say I'm a musician, I just create a track. I can say there's only 10 copies. It's a very rare collection and I'm only allowing 10 copies or 10 licenses of this specific track. And so for the purchaser, they can purchase one of those 10 and now they can use it in their other work. So I've seen there's actually a lot of creative collaboration here. I've seen artists who've done a piece, put it online, and then you have another musician who's adding a track on top of that piece. And now that becomes a new piece. And you can have a royalty splitting between the artist and the musician in this case. So I think from a technology standpoint, I've already seen products out there that edges towards that. Like we're not very far away from, technically. From a adoption perspective, that's another question. I think that depends on really, like right now there's a lot of hype around NFT. And just like the 2017 ICO bubble, like there might be a little burst that we see. And then the industry can continue on and it can really mature through that. So that's just a very natural cycle of the industry. And so in terms of, how far away are we seeing all the artists or most of them start adopting this licensing model? I think that will probably still take a year or beyond for that to happen. To your second question, in terms of our product, so our version 1 is already alive. It's already online, and that's just a marketplace for people to buy and sell their NFTs. I would say it's still aimed at the crypto community right now, in the sense that you have to log in with a wallet. So MetaMask is the most common crypto wallet that people have to log in, and it's not for your main stream adoption users. So in our version 2 product, we are thinking about adding a credit card, which just makes it so much easier for anyone to buy it. We're also looking at a lot of partnerships. So right now I'm talking with the art community. They're one of the largest art communities in the world. And they have a lot of members in their community that wants to explore this NFT realm. And this might be so the reason our V2 is taking a while to come out is because we're trying to make sure that whatever functionalities we include already cater to a partnership that we've already secured. So a lot of our product development are tinkering along the way to make sure that we are already meeting the needs when the V2 comes out. Does that answer your question?
That's good. It's a great start, but I have just so many more questions to flow from that. For example, can you tell us what GoNFT is first?
Sure. So GoNFT is the name of the platform, and GoNFT is a digital platform to allow people to buy and sell different types of NFTs. Not just buy and sell, but also explore and also do more with it. So as I mentioned earlier, we believe that art or fashion collectibles is not just something pretty to look at. We believe that it has also a underlying financial aspect to it. And so for the people who are interested, they can now purchase it and there's more they can do. So the lending part is something that we have explored. It is a little bit more difficult in terms of putting it to life. But the concept there is if I now buy a very expensive piece. So for example, the Beeple piece I was talking about earlier, if I now as a buyer spend $6.9 million, there's a lot of galleries and just affluent people out here who might want to display it in their gallery. And so there is a potential for me now to loan that piece to these people and charge them for it. So that's a very lucrative and huge opportunity as well. The whole NFT space is still so young. Like we literally just started. And so I think the possibilities are endless in terms of what we can do.
I'll be honest, your Twitter feed blew my mind the other day because I saw a whole digital house being, the Go NFT one, being sold for 500K. This is on the Go NFT Twitter feed, right? Somebody has sold a complete house, a digital house in the metaverse for $500,000. Okay, I mean, my mind is blown about that and the potential for that, and the furniture that are in it, and the pictures on the walls, and you know, all of this, all opportunities. But let me come back to Daniel, because actually, when you did the Atari token work, you were pioneering, basically, helping to bring more real world commerce, if you like, or activities to the metaverse. Do you want to talk about, Daniel, where that might go? And what was the original concept you were thinking of in terms of a business model? And then with NFT, and thinking about our audience, right? And our audience are, obviously there are top 20 companies in our competition, and then a wider community that are also thinking about how to use them. And some of them, for example, are in very high-end fashion. So let's come back to that and talk about how they might be able to use this as well. But Daniel, quickly to you, what does the metaverse mean to you? And how big an opportunity is it?
Like, I think, I mean, Maggie knows this very well. She was part of what we were doing several years ago. You know, the metaverse is, I think, a name that's sort of quite modern, actually. You know, it was used a long time ago, but it's something that became big post 2018, 19. We always saw there was going to be an issue, which, you know, EdenBase is interesting for, because we're sort of creating the issue and solving the issue. And the issue is, as we go through this revolution, we call it the cognitive revolution, and computers start taking over human functions, which is happening. You know, by 2030, 30% of worked hours could disappear. Current worked hours to computers. I mean, that's 1 billion people that could be not working anymore. We need things for people to do. And the beauty of gaming is 2.5 billion people play gaming, you know, all the time. You have freedom to be able to create in a very safe environment, because if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. If you die in a game, you don't actually die, you know. And we foresaw a world in which people could actually train to be whatever they wanted to be in a different world. So however you're born doesn't matter. You could be someone completely different in that world, and you can create something new. So, and because worlds with very good financial models. The problem with gaming at the moment is you need, you know, 1 million daily active users makes no money. I mean, 1 million users, you know, it sounds like a lot of users, but you can't employ 3 people on 1 million daily active users. You need to be a Tencent with 200 million daily users. That's because the economics don't work. If you can create a model that emulates the real world, then you can work on 100,000 users. And because that allows people to create very cool worlds in which people want to go. I today might want to be a medieval knight. That's my dream. Or I want to work on a high density planet, underwater planet. I could become an architect for high density underwater planets. And that could be my training. And that's where the whole NFT comes in, you know, because then you can prove that Daniel, me, who is the best architect, created this. And I know it's mine, which means that house stands the test of time and can be valued. But the beauty of gaming is it's a ratchet. So, you know, Tomb Raider in the 80s was Lara Croft pixelated. If she hit a box, she would just stand there and carry on running. Now she hits a box and the box falls and the physics are perfect. So every year gaming, and that then gets every game is able to use the same technology. So it's a ratcheting process. We get better and better and better. So actually an underwater world would have proper physics. So the design has to be perfect. And then, as I say, you can sell that, which is why the NFT is so important, why these exchanges, or I can lend my house out on the on Maggie's platform, that's where it becomes important. But to me, the real value of the Atari project was to allow people, wherever they are in the world, on a simple phone, they can earn a living and do great things and not be bound to where they live and who they were in the real world. And that was the power.
Amazing. I mean, very pioneering stuff, you know, even only a few years ago. Maggie, I noticed that Access has some serious investors involved, right? Finbushi, Consensus, and things like that. Why are they interested? What do they imagine in the future?
So I'm going to touch a little bit on something that Eric, both you and Daniel brought up. I think as we're going towards, you know, the next 5, 10, 20 years, and especially COVID really accelerates this whole digital adoption of art gallery and just how we humans interact with each other. Things are getting increasingly digital and people are okay with it. So when our investors, and we have quite a few
amazing. Yeah.
corporate investors coming in, what they saw is that because the team members have a track record. So myself, I've been in the industry, like I mentioned, for the last 4 years, you know, basically heading one of the largest user crypto wallets. And one of our other co-founder, Jin, he co-founded the first basically bridge blockchains, and it's called Aeon, and it did really well. It first launched on Binance, and at the peak, it was one of the top 20 cryptocurrencies among all. So I think we have a track record that we can show our investors that, you know, we all believe in this vision of let's create more of a Web3, more of a decentralized movement, not just in finance or in art, but we can actually combine them. And that's a very vast vision. And I think as we're moving towards this new digital identity, sort of like what Daniel was mentioning, you know, I foresee that in the future, we're going to have more AI and machine learning that's going to be doing more administrative work for us humans. So we can really let our creativity lead us to different types of career, or maybe even having multiple jobs in the day. And this is where a lot of the decentralized peer-to-peer network comes in. So to answer your question, I think they believe in our vision. They believe in this new digital identity that's powered by blockchain. And this is how we got them.
You mentioned fashion a couple of times. Do you want to give me some examples of how the fashion industry could think about using NFTs?
Sorry, was that to me? Did you say Daniel? Sorry.
Oh, no, I said you mentioned.
But me, I didn't know if that was to me. Okay, sorry, it was a bit confusing. Yes, so, you know, it's an interesting thing because, you know, this is a very live project, you know, NFTs, we've been in a long time. We saw an opportunity at the end of last year to really engage with the fashion industry, and this some of the big problems in the fashion industry is, you know, authenticity of the product. It's a very environmentally destructive industry, you know, fast fashion. It's filled with fraud. It's, you know, people copying other people's designs, and also overproduction, etc. And, you know, there's an advantage of using an NFT to actually you know, there's been a lot of work about 4 or 5 years ago in the fashion industry about putting fashion on the blockchain, which never really went anywhere because it didn't do anything more than trying to track it. When you can assign an NFT with a fashion item, you can build together two artisans. You can build together a digital artist, and a fashion artist. And again, it allows much smaller producers, you know, people that make 10, 20, 30 items to prove authenticity. So by combining an NFT with a physical item, it does a few things. It increases the value of those products. It proves authenticity, which means the counterfeit market is much lower, but it also increases the length of value of a fashion item. If it's got a longer shelf life and people are prepared to trade it because they know it's legitimate and they look after it because they know it's legitimate, I think this has enormous potentials. And then because, as you know, as Maggie talks about, we're in a very early stage with this, but already we can do some very, very cool things, like we can embed smart contracts into NFT art, which means that when a physical item comes near the art, it can glow or it can change shape or whatever, which means you know that the item is physical. And these things start to become very valuable. So, you know, this is where I see NFTs not just being a pure digital play for the metaverse, let's call it, and for the crypto community. It also solves real world problems. And it can solve it in anything where you want to prove legitimacy much better, I believe, than just putting items on the blockchain by allowing these connections.
So look, I'm reading the Q&A, but I'm also aware of the time. We've gone on a bit longer than we'd originally said. So if people need to do their work, then let's fully understand. And thank you very much. This is just really a first introduction and learning, but I'm going to keep going because actually that's the power of EdenBase, right? We are this ecosystem. And there's a question there from someone that we know very well called Luca on the Q&A. And he said, Maggie, are you interested in launching a new hybrid art form in the next 2 weeks? And that is for a very high-end fashion brand. And so it's very, very cool. We know the brand well, and Daniel will be able to connect you with them. But just in the general terms, for a brand like that, right? Mm-hmm. Connected here on obviously on EdenBase chat, it's amazing. I can't wait to see it launch because we can all refer to this amazing moment, and then the whole of the fashion industry followed afterwards. Is that the kind of person that you or organization that you want to hear from?
Well, I want to say, Eric, we can actually make this little video clip a NFT, and let's say something big comes out of this, and 10 years down the road, people are saying, how did this first, what is that genesis? We can put
it was here. It was right here.
Exactly. It was right here at EdenBase on the Zoom call. That is the beauty of this. It's almost like a little time bomb that you can put a little time record in for every.
Okay, am I going to so mint the audio stream because it's been recorded? So I think I'm going to do that anyway.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, so I want to say, I think you said the name is Luca. Definitely very much interested in partnerships like this. And I think that's really the beauty of this industry because it's so young. There's a lot of explorations here and a lot. The product, I would say, like we have a general direction of where we want to go, but how we get there along the way really depends on the partnerships that we have secured and what their needs are. So yes, absolutely. Connect us afterwards. I think, if it's in the next 2 weeks or next 2 months, we are down for that.
Awesome. Well, Daniel will do that straight away. I mean, people like that, especially the custodians of very, very successful brands already, are going to be worried about things like success of an NFT offering, liquidity, and things like that. Will your platform help with that?
So I think a lot of it depends on connecting the buyer side and the seller side. This is where I like to work with communities that already have a very big following or that already have a very loyal following. So we've already established a buyer community, just for everyone to know. Right now, a big focus is in Asia because that's where a lot of our investors are. So we have a underlying layer. And then when we work with a community or a partnership, that's where we can bring in new source into the layer as well. So right now, a big focus of ours is still in the crypto community, but we would like to really bridge out and work with our community and the fashion community, because that's where I see this is going.
I think that's definitely something that we can do. I think that we're kind of run out of time here, but there is one more question which I can open up to either of you, which is about fees. People are worried that things being done on the Ethereum blockchain is going to be very expensive in terms of fees. Is that a real concern? Will that be improved? Maggie, what do you think?
Absolutely. So right now the fees can be crazy. It can go anywhere from $10 to sometimes as expensive as $100 for one transaction. And that, depends on the pricing of the item, can be expensive for certain people, but there's definitely solutions coming out. So there's something called a layer 2 solution. So Ethereum is a layer 1, there's a layer 2, and there's a number of different candidates out there, such as Polygon, such as there's a number. So that can put a fee down substantially. There's also other blockchains out there, such as Flow and such as Binance. Actually, the
Flow,
fee,
that's right,
essentially the fee is under $1, and it is lightning fast. So there's other solutions out there as well. It just needs the whole ecosystem to be built around it, and that's something that, like, we're seeing very fast development, but the industry is only so young, so we are still in that infancy stage.
All right. Listen, we have run out of time. Even though Gigi is smiling, I can see that I can see her going to tell me off in a second if I just keep going too long. But just to say, firstly, thank you and Daniel very much for sharing the the time, and also this is about learning without the EdenBase community. Thank you for sharing the learnings, and please do come back again and share with us how you're getting on, and be part of the EdenBase community. Gigi, back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. And I'm smiling because, like, I mean it, this, like, the world we live in, we're learning to be more flexible and understanding, and just really taking advantage of the fact that, like, we're all able to connect. And I really want to, like, thank all of our teams for joining, listening in, but I really wanted to thank Maggie for joining all the way from Canada. And thank you for being flexible. And I'm really glad that we extended this, like, additional time so that we could get to hear from Maggie and Daniel, because even though we have some companies in our top 20 who are more familiar with the technology, I would think that, like, there's great opportunity for all of them to start considering how it might be applicable to what they're building, what they're trying to accomplish. And in that sense, I think this session hopefully made this subject less scary for them. And I wanted to ask Maggie if our companies wanted to get in touch with you, or, like, if you wanted to share something with them. Like, these are early stage technology companies in various fields. And I wanted to ask, like, one last thing you would want to share with them.
Oh, yeah. So I think the leaving thought I will leave is just like how Bitcoin really made digital money makes sense, because if you think about it, anything digital can just be copied. So before, if you create anything digital, whether it be money or an art or a piece of fashion, it doesn't exactly make sense. People can just copy and paste it. But blockchain really allows a record of saying, this is the first person who have created it, and so anyone else who created it is now a duplicate. And so this is a perfect counterfeit system for anything digital. So if you think about what Bitcoin has done for that aspect of, the digital gold, this is what NFT space is doing for the digital art, the digital fashion, video gaming, all of these more creative aspects. So yes, for anyone who's interested, there's tons of YouTube videos, just learn more about it. If you are interested in a partnership, you can always reach me at maggieaccessdefi.com. Maggie at accessdefi.com. And I'm sure Daniel can circle my email as well. Otherwise, I am very excited to be here. And thank you so much, Eric and Daniel, and also Gigi, for organizing this and, allowing this conversation to really flow out.
Amazing.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Look forward to having you on again. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.